it's a multiplicity of things that chemtrails can do. Can control your hormones in your body, can make you sick, can shut you down, but also it's a weather modification chemical. So what they do is, especially in Atlanta, they would go up in the planes and they would shoot this chemical in the sky, and the entire sky becomes gray, which is unheard of. But people, never look up in the skies. It was prophesied we would never really focus on things like that. And the entire sky becomes gray. That's called chem dome. And then it will get cold, freezing, or it will start to rain. If they didn't drop that chem dome, it would have been, there wouldn't have been any summers, any winters anymore. So it was like it got up to 80 degrees in January here, and then the only way that they could control it was to drop the chem dome or the chemtrails every other day, or every 2 or 3 days. So what it would do, it would warm up, and it would go past 60. This is in February, and we get up to 70 in February. You see, that's unheard of up there, but it would get up to 70 and would start reaching, and would go up to 80, and they would come out with the planes and drop the chemtrails, and it would get it back down in the 40s and the 30s. And they did this up until the spring. So it would make you think that in actuality you're still living in 1975, whereas if you understood that the weather is different now and it's changing, whereas there are no winters, and not unless it's a manufactured winter, then your mind will wake up. You go, hey, something's going on now. The average Christian will go, wait a minute, it's the last days. We've been waiting on stuff like this. So they have to modify and control the weather with different things. And a lot of times, you see what I'm saying, with different things. So a lot of times also, Atlanta was running out of water. Was supposed to run out of water by this summer or by this spring. But what happened was, in the month of January, they made it rain almost every day. And as a result, they was able to fill up the reservoirs. You see, so they do the weather modification. That's standard.
Well, somebody asked in the chat room, what about China, the earthquake and the cyclones that went on over there? Was that man-made or? It
could very well be. I'm at this particular point. I'm at this particular point that I'm inclined to believe anything. To the simple fact is, I don't rule things out. Let me give you an example. If the whole time they had this whole fight with this Olympic thing and the China thing, and and the next thing we know, we have this whole thing that comes down. So I wouldn't rule any of those things out. Let me give you another one. I think it's very important, and I'm glad you said that because I think this is going to be the most important thing I'm telling you tonight. Is this. You have heard for the last year they've been coming on TV telling you that January of 2009, that if you got a regular TV, it won't be able to work without a converter box. You been hearing this?
Right, yes.
Okay, let me tell you what's going on. And let me give you an example. Now, the red flag automatically went up, which means there ain't going to be no more free TV. But then again, the only people that don't have cable is some black people, some old black people. Some black people are poor and some black people have got their cable cut off. Everybody else got cable. So now, that means that they got to get the people conditioned for what they want to do. Now, let me give you an example. You know they're killing black people wholesale up in Philadelphia. They're killing them with dogs. But this thing started about 2 years ago, about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and they're just all of a sudden in Philadelphia, black people killing people like dogs. Now, when it starts overnight, you must understand that that's called induced. That's being induced. That means that nothing starts on a vacuum. That means if they started killing each other 3 years ago, you could actually take if it was something that was regular crime, you could take it and you can go back each year and see a pattern. But to see something that come up overnight and there was no pattern before, that means that's induced. Now, let me give you an example of what's going on here. They will always tell you something once. That's the policy of the government. But telling you something once is not telling you at all, because most people, you know what I'm saying, we don't even have a memory bank in the past 3 years. There's a movie that's out that they put out. They will always give you this. You can go to Blockbuster and find a movie called The Signal. The Signal. This movie just came out. And it's a movie where they take a signal and take it through the cable box, the radio, well, the cable box with the TV, the radio, and also the telephone. And as a result, they sent this signal in this movie, and everybody started killing each other like crazy, cutting off people's heads. And I mean, people was killing, like they send the signal and everybody in the building dies, except one black guy who has melanin, but he later on succumbed to it. And another girl who was not watching didn't get the signal because she was in a closet hiding from one of her roommates trying to kill her. But anyway, you will get a simulation on what's going on in Philadelphia, or what was going on in New Orleans when they had already evacuated all the people. You see what I'm saying? So what it is, let's say if the city wants some type of urban renewal, they got a plan for a certain city to do a certain amount of things, then the first thing they got to do is they start killing off the so-called underclass, you see, or locking them down. So there's a movie called The Signal that you need to get. It's at Blockbuster now, but it's going to be fundamental because now you're going to be forced to have a converter box, even if you didn't have one before by the first of 2009. Yes.
Right.
And the movie shows you, and it might be a little more graphic and dramatic, but it's still, you get the concept when you see the movie, that a lot of these things you are thinking, what is wrong with these Negroes, man? They have gone fool. That stuff is induced, especially when it don't make no sense, you see. And this is giving us a synopsis of what's been happening with us over the years, at least the past 20 years, you see. So that's it. It's called The Signal. Yes.
Okay. Now, what's going on with this 2012 dimensional shift?
Okay. This is the deal on the 2012. The 2012 is actually happening right now. You see, when the Mayans chose 2012, they understand that you can't really calculate energies. Basically, energies occur at a certain way, and to get the exact date or time, that's artificial. So to give you a simulation of an area on when they're talking, they just chose a number. But it's more of a cycle. The 2012 cycle, we're in it already. So let's say we did get to 2012. You'd probably be disappointed if you think in the exact hour something is actually going to happen. Not unless the government is going to try to make something happen. But nevertheless, it is supposed to indicate the cycle that we're in now. So what happens is this. They can control you and your perception of things by giving you a date years off. Now, to give you an example. In the 1990s, everything was about the millennium. When the millennium comes, the millennium. Then the millennium came. You see what I'm saying? Certain things did happen, but when it did come, then they started 2012. And what's the science on this? The science is if I give you a future date for you to look forward to, I have eliminated the time that you are living in right now and things that is occurring at this moment. I have actually neutralized that. There's a whole book out, a guy named Eckhart Tolle, called The Power of Now, which means that the now is always the future. The future is always now. But if I can eliminate you and put you in stagnant, suspended animation by giving you a date up ahead, you see what I'm saying? The future never gets here because the future is always occurring. So that's the power of now. So you can eliminate people, their power, and neutralize their power and their thoughts and everything else because they're gravitating towards that. So as a result, every time we get in something, let's say when 2012 does get here, there will be something else a few years down the road to control people. Now, the key here is the Barack Obama thing, which is a freak of nature in the particular aspect of what we have gotten with this election program and black people before. That's a 2012 event happening before our eyes. You see what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, we can't pick up on it You see what I'm saying? Because we keep thinking that everything is just regular politics.